Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Espinosa, and we talk about the invasion of Ukraine and the systemic order. It's a multidimensional analysis of the breakdown of European security, strategic actors, and global implications. Well, for the introduction to the conflict and international relations, some events do not just change border; they are shape the global system. And Russia full-scale invasion of Ukraine in the biggest break in European security since World War II. Um, its international impact goes beyond a territorial fight. It directly challenges the principle of national sovereignty and territorial integrity from the UN Charter. This has caused a diplomatic breakdown in global institutions and is pushing the world toward a multipolar system where power is shared among many countries. For the background or historical background of this event, the origin of this conflict is not new. It's rooted in the post-Cold War era after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. Ukraine became an independent state. It gave up its nuclear weapons through the 1994 Budapest memorandum in exchange for security guarantees. However, tensions grew with the different weights of NATO expansion toward the east, where the crisis hit a point of no return in 2014 with the Euromaidan protests, which removed the pro-Russian president Viktor Yanukovych, and Russia responded by illegally taking a Crimea and supporting separatists in the Donbass. This showed a hidden instability that finally turned into an open war. The actor and strategic interest. From the view of structural realism, this conflict shows how great powers act in a world with a global government. Russia acts to defend its geopolitical sphere of influence and wants to stop Ukraine from joining Western. Ukraine, the main victim, used its right to self-determination and fight for its survival through military resistance and by trying to join to European Union. As a secondary actors, NATO and the United States provide massive military and economic help. They want to weaken Moscow's strategic power and stop future attacks while countries like China choose a confusing neutrality. From the international security, the security side of the crisis has brought back the classic security dilemma. Uh, what the West sees as defensive help for Kiev, Moscow sees as a direct threat. This increases the risk of the direct fight between nuclear powers. Globally, the militarization of Baltic and Nordic borders, Finland and Sweden joining NATO, and Europe's massive agreement show that arms control agreements are falling. Global security has changed from political deterrence to an open military conflict, which has also disrupted energy and food supply chains around the world. The humanitarian impact through the lens of the human security approach in 1994, the cost of this war is devastating. According to official reports from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refuge, uh, in 2026, more than 5.9 million Ukrainians are registered as refugees worldwide, and about 3.7 million are displaced inside their own country. Constant attacks on civilian homes as an energy system currently violate international military law. Uh, the civilian population suffers from several conditions like losing basic service in winter, documented war crimes, and deep trauma. This makes the crisis one of the worst human rights disasters of our time. And the multilateral response or international response uh, from the global response shows the deep division in world governance. In the UN Security Council, Russia's veto power has blocked any punishment or peace efforts. This proves the neoliberal institutionalist criticism about the structural weakness of international organization when permanent members do not agree. However, the General Assembly has strongly condemned the invasion. Also, regional groups like the European Union and the G7 have chosen the centralist response, applying economic sanctions that now have historical parallel. In the futurist scenarios, geopolitical outlook and war of attrition, appalling military slayment depletes regional resources and perpetual severe chronic shocks across the economy. The fragile armistice, a diplomatic freeze establishing de facto territorial division and resolving in immediate conflict but leaving system security dilemmas unrest. This conflict solidifies the return of raw, competitive great power politics and fragment global systems. Theoretical framework into the structural reliefs state behavior is attrained by the anarchic structure of the international system and imperative for powers to guard their strategic defensive frontiers. The security dilemma, action taken by states to increase its security, are perceived by rivals as offensive thrift, resulting in escalatory cycles. Neoliberal institutionally highlighting the limits of global governance, international institutions are highly constrained when the core interests of dominant great powers diverge. And the human security, advocating for a paradigm shift in security studies from the military defense of state borders to the comprehensive protection of the individual. Well, for conclusion, and that's for the conflict of Ukraine marks the definite end of post-Cold War US dominance. The future presents difficult paths along war of attrition or a fragile peace deal that accepts divided territories. In any case, the 5th century international order will be defined by new alliance and return to power politics. The global change will be learning to live together in fragmented world. Thank you for your time and thank you very much.